Welcome back. The Modi cabinet is taking shape. The detailed list should be coming out in some time. As I said earlier today, there are two things of great interest in New Delhi today. One is who's getting what portfolio, who are the young faces, what's going to be the average age, how much of a chance does Mr. Modi take with this kind of cabinet. The second, of course, is on Mr. Nawaz Sharif. I'd like to welcome media advisor to Nawaz Sharif, Tariq Azim. He's joining us from Islamabad. Good evening, Mr. Azim. It's been a long time. Good evening. Good evening and welcome to Times Now.
Thank you.
As I said today, the great deal of attention on your Prime Minister who is meeting Vajpayee at 2 o'clock. I'm just giving a news update for our viewers. Then there is a Bollywood touch to Mr. Nawaz Sharif's visit because Dharmendra and Shatrughan Sinha are calling on Nawaz Sharif. Delhi is seeing a lot of diplomatic activity this evening and tomorrow I'm told Karzai and Nepal Prime Minister Koirala also will be calling on Nawaz Sharif in Delhi. So Nawaz Sharif is taking maximum opportunity to also interact at different levels while in Delhi. And then Nawaz Sharif will be meeting Narendra Modi at the Hyderabad house. I think that's happening at 10 minutes past 12 tomorrow. So Nawaz Sharif has as packed a schedule as Modi himself in the first part of the day tomorrow. Also like to welcome Brigadier Javed Hussain from Karachi, just welcoming and introducing the panel. General VP Malik, former Chief of Staff, Salman Soz of the Congress Party, Vani Tripathi Tikku of the BJP, and I also welcoming, before I go into our first report on what Mr. Sharif has been up to, is experienced diplomat, former Secretary in the Ministry of External Affairs, KC Singh. Thank you, KC. It's good to see you after a long time. We've been missing you in the political season. Our consulting editor and strategic affairs expert, Maruf Raza Hartosh, is with us. Lord Meghnath Desai, Vinod Mehta. With your permission, ladies and gentlemen, just a very quick report. Is the first ever Prime Minister to have all SAARC nation heads at his opening ceremony. And Narendra Modi, many people say, may have already scored his first diplomatic coup. His firm handshake with Nawaz Sharif has set the tone for the 35-minute meeting between him and Nawaz Sharif tomorrow. Pakistan will be Modi's first big challenge in office, and that too on day one as Prime Minister.
The Pakistani Prime Minister setting foot on Indian soil after over 10 years, signalling a fresh phase in Indo-Pak relations.
We have very high expectations, on that side of, the border. We hope that, we are able to live by, those expectations.
While this visit may just be a photo op for both leaders, it has successfully conveyed Modi's decisiveness as far as foreign policy is concerned. The same steadfastness of the Modi government was evident with the invitation to the Sri Lankan president in the face of protests from his own ally.
We express our pain, our protest, our agony about the presence of Rajapaksa in the swearing-in ceremony.
So as dignitary after dignitary arrived at Delhi's Palam Airport, the underlying message was clear. The Modi government was keen on reshaping India's foreign policy, ready to lead from the front.
मैं सुषमा स्वराज ईश्वर की शपथ लेती हूँ कि मैं विधि द्वारा स्थापित भारत के संविधान के प्रति सच्ची श्रद्धा और निष्ठा रखूंगी.
And the responsibility falls on Sushma's shoulders. One of BJP's most experienced hands has her task cut out. While a clear position on Pakistan with specific focus on ceasefire violations remains top of the agenda, strengthening relations with America and sorting out border issues with China are equally significant. So as Modi gears up for a string of meetings with SAARC representatives, the goal will be far beyond strengthening personal ties. The focus will be on outlining a cohesive foreign agenda and its implementation. Bureau Report, Times Now.
You're watching the second Newshour Debate on Times Now Super Prime Time.
Mr. Tariq Azim, first question to open up this discussion is to you, sir. People want hard talk now. There has been enough ceremony in India-Pakistan relationship. People want hard talk. Do you think there will be hard talk tomorrow, straight talk between these two gentlemen, Nawaz Sharif and Narendra Modi? And if so, what will Mr. Sharif want to outline?
I think the agenda for the two prime ministers is almost the same. Both have been elected on economic revival agenda. So I think that is very high on their meeting when they meet tomorrow. In 35 minutes, I don't think it's going to be a long enough meeting to address the serious issues that we all know that both countries need to resolve. But it will be long enough to break the ice, even if it is not going to be a breakthrough. We hope that the meeting would be cordial, which I expect it to be. And then, of course, both have been elected recently. Nawaz Sharif has just coming to for the first year in office, and is going to be 5 years for Narendra Modi. So there will be plenty more opportunity to meet and carry on from where they leave tomorrow. So I think it's going to be a cordial affair tomorrow, apart from what has happened today, which was more ceremonial. And we hope that the agenda which Mr. Nawaz Sharif carries with him, and as you remember, during his election campaign, he had openly said that his topmost in the agenda will be trade and good relations with all the neighbors, especially with India. So he's always maintained that he's got a mandate of the people to build up good relations with India. And he's got very fond memories of BJP, and especially BJP, the former Prime Minister Vajpayee, when he came to Lahore. And he wants to take off from there where he left off in '99. So I think the meeting is going to be good. We all hope and we wish the meeting every success.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's not a summit meeting. It's a handshake, and it's a one-on-one meeting, and it's on the sidelines of being sworn in.
Yes.
So it's not about getting into details, I agree. But Casey, it would be a lost opportunity. In fact, if Mr. Modi wants to hit the ground running on every single issue, then foreign policy should also be one of them, instead of just a normal, cordial conversation. It should be more direct than that.
I think what will happen is, probably if the Foreign Minister of India we are clear that Mr. Swaraj is the External Affairs Minister, they might be already in contact at night, at the official level. Essentially, the two leaders will be sensing each other out. Chemistry is extremely important. I don't think they're going to get into great detail.
Yes.
What is important is to see the outer limits of what each other's constraints and each other's aspirations are. I have a feeling, and that's the word that is going around, that Nawaz Sharif has been sitting on the most favored nation thing. He may now put it on the table, because now he can
in exchange for what?
No, that is what Mr. Modi has to offer him. In exchange for what? In exchange for restarting the dialogue, in exchange for building up to something by September, when on the sidelines of UNGA, the two leaders can meet again, which is just 3.5 months away. So it gives both sides 3.5 months, but I have a feeling that he's already made that one move, which I'm told was at Indian request, which is a fisherman, because they wanted something to be shown.
That's a soft move.
Yeah, but if MFN is put on the table, they may call it whatever they want, because the literal translation of that is very, they don't like the Urdu translation of it, but that would be a very good beginning. Now, what you give in exchange would be essentially, Delhi may not say that, but they would be resuming the dialogue without, and they might get a commitment, some kind of a commitment, that he will not allow the territories, the same commitment that he gave Mr. Vajpayee.
No, but that's my point.
Yeah.
I don't.
They should definitely get some.
No, I don't. It would be foolish to expect that when these two very mature gentlemen with their own respective mandates and popular leaders will meet, that there will be acrimony tomorrow. Certainly not. But I put this question to General Malik, and then I'm opening this debate up. You see. And don't get me wrong, Tariq Azim, because the way people in India look at it is that Manmohan Singh and Nawaz Sharif also met, I think, September, October in New York on the sidelines of the UNGA, General Malik. And just days after that, we had that standoff in the Kairan sector. And Nawaz Sharif had promised good relations with India after becoming Prime Minister, but we had the killing of the 5 Indian soldiers in, ceasefire violations across the LOC. So, General Malik, there is a pattern of distrust. And I think that handshake tomorrow will have to try and find a way of breaking that pattern of distrust. Modi is pretty straightforward when he talks. You think he'll also lay it on the table what Pakistan needs to do to break that pattern of distrust?
Look, I'm sure this point will come up. beside all the cordialities which one expects in their first meeting, and assessing each other, gauging each other, and trying to be a little friendly for the next meeting also. I'm sure this point will come up, but this kind of a point may not be taken into details tomorrow. The concerns may be expressed, but they may not be able to go deep into this, and concerns from both sides will probably come up. And let me tell you that in the last 1 year, there have been more terrorist incidents, both inside India and even in Kabul, and now just a few days ago in Herat, 2 days ago in Herat. So there have been more such violent incidents, and I'm sure India can express and can convey the concerns and what it will do to normalization of our relationship. So while trade and economic definitely is an important issue, alongside this aspect also, I'm sure, will be paged for a detailed meeting subsequently.
That's the point. And again, Brigadier Javed Hussain, we are being realistic tonight. The realistic fact is that when they meet, they will meet knowing the fact that the people of India, for example, will not allow any movement in the India-Pakistan, coming together, or their strategic relationship or whatever peace-building process, if incidents like Herat continue to happen. You see, these are tough questions, Brigadier Javed Hussain. The Herat attack on the 23rd of May is the 4th such attack on Indian installations since 2008. If there is something which spoils the atmosphere, it is principally incidents like the Herat attack. So maybe Mr. Modi will seek some assurance on that front, even if he may couch it broadly in his first meeting with Nawaz Sharif.
You see, let me start by saying, can you hear me or not?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear from Karachi. Go ahead. Tariq Azim is also joining us from Islamabad.
Okay.
He can also hear you, and so can all of us.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, let me start by saying that isn't it an irony that a foreign power ruled over the subcontinent for nearly 200 years, and we went along with him. They exploited us. We fought wars for them. We did everything. Yet when they left, instead of having fought them, we started fighting each other. Since 1948, this has been the story. Mistrust. And wherever there is mistrust, there can never be a relationship. I think the time has now come for adopting a constructive approach, reorientation of the foreign policy. Incidents of terror that have afflicted India, they have afflicted Pakistan many times over. Every day there is a blast.
So
somewhere.
Change the script.
Thousands and thousands of people have lost their lives.
So let's change
If Nawaz Sharif cannot give an assurance to Mr. Narendra Modi, he cannot give an assurance to the people of Pakistan. What is going to happen tomorrow? Where? Military installations of the Pakistan Army, Navy and Air Force have been attacked. The whole country has turned into a battlefield. The Pakistan Armed Forces, spearheaded by the Pakistan Army, is going after them. And hopefully...
Is that our concern in India? Why should that be India's concern? With respect. With respect. 1 second, KC Singh.
Hold on.
Sir, just a minute.
Please don't interrupt.
Sir, KC Singh wants to rebut you. I'm coming back. KC Singh wants to say something to you.
Just a question.
Mr. Nawaz Sharif cannot give an assurance to Mr. Modi that a terror strike across the LOC or elsewhere will not happen. He cannot give an assurance to the people of Pakistan.
Because the people of Pakistan are being attacked by Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, whereas the people of India are being attacked by Hafiz Saeed and his groups. They are two different groups.
Absolutely.
All we are asking for is Hafiz Saeed and his cohorts to be controlled. That's all. But what is not under Mr. Nawaz Sharif's control is what is coming from the West.
Absolutely.
Actually, sir, Maruf also wants to make a point to you. Just hear it out, sir, because beyond the point, General Malik also wants to respond. General Malik, just coming to you after Maruf, please, Maruf.
Brigadier Saab, it's a well-known fact and it's well documented, and I'm not saying it. International experts and observers have said it, that the Pakistan army and the hardliners in the armed forces have had an alliance with those groups that operate and are stationed on your eastern front, which borders India. And there have been very few attacks, if any, by groups such as Lashkar-e-Toiba, who continue to target Kashmir and India.
Yes.
Whereas the targets that you are battling, and including General Sharif, who has put together the new doctrine to deal with internal insurgencies, and when you have to fight insurgencies, there will be bloodshed. I mean, this is a whole cyclical effect. I don't want to go into it. But quite clearly, the battles that you are fighting are on your western front, which have nothing to do with those groups that target India.
Why should
So to continue, this argument, it doesn't wash water with us anymore, sir, that Pakistan is a victim of terror. So don't tell Pakistan to stop terror.
Yeah.
Pakistan is a victim of the fire that you have lit. You're burning your hands in that fire. You have nurtured those groups. Some of them are biting the hands that bit you. The bigger question is, can Mr. Sharif prevail upon those in your establishment who see terror groups as strategic assets to be used against India?
I
think we would like you to address that. And more important,
his own government in Punjab.
His own government in Punjab is also known to budget money and give out of their budget to hardline Ahle Hadith groups and Lashkar-e-Toiba. Let's not get into that. I think the bigger question is there a chemistry? Is there a chemistry that is there between Mr. Modi and Mr. Sharif? What are we looking at? I essentially see 3 C's. There has to be cordiality tomorrow. There has to be chemistry tomorrow, and there has to be contours for a new relationship defined.
Yeah, you mentioned. One sec.
We are talking business.
In addition to the 3 C's and Tariq Azim, I'd like to add 1 D, which cannot be there. 3 C's can be there, but 1 D, Tariq Azim, cannot be there, and that is the D, which means duck. Nawaz Sharif, in our view, sir, cannot duck questions at least about ceasefire violations across the LOC. Because the one thing, Mr. Tariq Azim, which is there in your control, which you can hold back tomorrow, is the ceasefire violations. They actually upset the relationship each time there is a movement forward. Do you think that can be done? Let's get a view from Mr. Tariq Azim. I'm coming to you, General Malik. Yes, sir.
Now, the issue that you have just raised, the point and its effect that there is violation of the line of control from both sides. And if we don't face the realities, I think that we'll be foolish to close our eyes and say that this is not happening. From both sides, this violation must start from both sides. Like just now, you have just mentioned Herat, attack on the consulate in Herat. Now, what has Pakistan got to do with the attack that happened in Herat? Pakistan has got nothing to do with that.
You know,
if it happens there, anybody gets... No, I mean, we have got nothing to do with what's happening in Afghanistan. You know what's going on in Afghanistan. God forbid, if there are more attacks in Afghanistan by Taliban over there, who have been fighting the forces over there, whether they are ASF forces or American forces. And this might even increase after they have left in 2014. Are you going to blame all that on us? I think totally unfair. If we are going to start on a new relationship, I think we need to look at our relationship in a better light. Also, we must also realize that both these leaders who meet tomorrow, they have got a common agenda, and the top of their agenda, of course, as I said earlier, is going to be the economic revival on both sides. And that cannot happen if both of them don't agree on steps which will have stability and peace in both sides.
Mr. Azim, everyone wants peace. Everyone wants peace. But just one small point here. And because tomorrow there's a meeting, I'm not even getting into acrimony. Is the Pakistan army going to get realistic? For example, India will not budge from Afghanistan. We have our consulates and our interests in Afghanistan. We won't budge. let there be any amount of intimidation from any groups, Pakistan sponsored or not. Now, will the Pakistan army and the establishment come to that conclusion? I just want to get in a couple of contrary views. Vani and Salman Soos coming to you, but I'd like to get Vinod Mehta and Meghnad Desai on the expectations from tomorrow.
Mr. Tariq Aziz, I think
Let me say this thing now, very simple. One minute, give me 1 second for this one. Nawaz Sharif is the leader. He is the elected leader of Pakistan. And as you remember, way back in '93, he rather gave up his prime ministership than when he said that he will not take any dictation from anybody. He will take the lead. He will dictate on what terms we have with India. And he has said many a time that all he wants is good relations with India. Sir, and he'll do everything in his power to make sure that there are good relations with India.
Sir, I don't want to argue with that. You're a man of tremendous experience and sagacity. But your experience will tell you that, for example, different envoys, Chris Alexander was a Canadian envoy to Afghanistan between 2003 and 2005. And he had said the Pakistani army is sponsoring large-scale guerrilla covert war through Afghanistan proxies. These are not my words, it's not an Indian estimate. Vinod Mehta, Meghnad Desai wants to come into the debate. Hartosh is there. Let's get everyone in. Yes, please.
Vinod Mehta. I think I speak for many people in India who congratulate Mr. Nawaz Sharif for taking up Mr. Modi's invitation. He did this in the face of stiff opposition.
Point taken.
And he took many risks. But if he has come all the way here, then we must try and get something substantial here.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, if Mr. Nawaz Sharif comes here or Mr. Modi goes there, so we can the trade that you talk of, sir, the trade cannot progress in isolation. It has to progress in talks.
Well taken. There has to be an atmosphere for it.
I think if you could say that Nawaz Sharif cannot give guarantee that terror attacks won't happen against India, then we have to settle on a minimal agenda. What can he guarantee to India, which India can take, and then we can proceed further?
Absolutely.
Because if he's not in charge of his own country, let us know what he's in charge of, and let us extend that.
Any government needs basic political equity in order to be able to take a process. You look at what happened to Manmohan Singh. He had all the interest, he couldn't take it forward. Because each time he moved forward, there was a stumbling block. I just want to take the two political parties
as someone who headed the anti-terror group, let me just mention, I think the problem, Lord Desai, is not the terror attack. If a terror attack is not traceable to official or semi-official groups in Pakistan, it is understandable that they are not responsible. But when the track is going directly there and they say, no, it isn't, that is where the problem arises.
Okay, let's get Vani and Salman Soos in, please. Let's get Vani and Salman Soos to hear what the political parties expect. Is there some kind of a consensus? General Malik, I'm coming to you right in a minute. Vani Tripathi and Salman Soos, our guests in Pakistan are hearing you, and so are our viewers across the country. How much do you expect hard talk to come, at least from Modi's side tomorrow? Vani, let's start with you.
Arnab, let's first begin by actually congratulating Mr. Nawaz Sharif and the step which has been taken in the right direction to accept Modi ji's invitation and be present today. I was there at the swearing-in ceremony, and I must say, with a very congratulatory note, that when Mr. Sharif walked into the audience, there was jubilation, people clapped, and I could see smiles on their faces. So, for me, the BJP and for Narendra Bhai, it's a small but a right step in a direction. As Mr. Raza said, another C is communication. Let us not speculate on how big or how small the discussion will be tomorrow. It's probably the right step towards a direction to communicate further, to have cordial communication, and the fact that Mr. Sharif came and also heads of state of SAARC countries were present today at the swearing-in also is insignia of the multilateralism that the BJP and the government will probably propagate. Arnab, if we will turn pessimistic, yes, our histories have not been very right.
Vani, why are you today?
Arnab, just let me complete. Just 3 seconds.
I think the burden of power comes...
Just let me complete.
comes with a heavy price on your strategic direction.
Progress does not love misery. Progress loves peace. Shattered economies. We have been seeing shattered economies in the region because of violence, because of terrorism. That is true. But yet,
I'm just getting our guests from Pakistan a flavor of how people are thinking. Salman Soos, please. And then we'll open up. No, they'll feel very reassured with this line. VP Malik wants to come in before that. Salman Soos, with your permission. VP Malik wanted to come in before that. I'm going to get you back as well. VP Malik.
I also want to come in.
While we all welcome the talks that are going to be held tomorrow, and I'm sure they will be in a very cordial atmosphere, I believe that diplomacy means engagement. That's the crux of diplomacy. But then we have also got to take into account the ground realities, what has been happening for the last 1 year, and I think it will be correct for each other, both Pakistan and India, to exchange some notes on the ground realities which are bothering each other. Now, with due respect to Mr. Tariq Aziz, let me just mention to you people here that today, when the Afghanistan president gave an interview to one of our news channels, he has pointedly said that Lashkar-e-Taiba was involved in Herat assault. He has mentioned the name of the terror outfit, and he has also said that this is an information which has come to them from Western sources. But he was quite categoric about the source of this terror attack. So I don't think one can really ignore, as I said, that this will be paged now for both leaders to go into details later on. Tomorrow I don't expect that people will start shouting at each other. I'm sure that it will not happen. They will be cordial, they must be cordial, but some of these important aspects will be paged tomorrow for each other.
That's what we are saying, Tariq Azim, that these issues cannot be ducked. Brigadier Hussain, you realize this, that these issues cannot be ducked by only saying, let's get the atmosphere right.
Nobody has said that you just duck these issues.
Let me
in fact, I'm saying otherwise. I'm saying that we have to face these issues right in the eyes, and we got to resolve these issues. And same is happening in the issue like say Kashmir. We cannot just say that Kashmir is not an issue. We cannot say the water is not an issue. We cannot say Siachen is not an issue. All these issues must be discussed. As I've said earlier, war is no longer an option. Both are nuclear states. The only way we can resolve these issues is through talks. So let's hope tomorrow's talks will lead to talks, meaningful talks, and resume the dialogue that has been lying pending for a long time. If we can just start tomorrow agreeing that we are going to have talks, I think we can get somewhere.
Fine, but you know the biggest stumbling block for talks, Tariq Azim, has been your inaction in the 26/11 trial, for example. Right? And the latest hearing in the trial was scheduled, Mr. Azim and Brigadier Javed Hussain, for May 21st, 3 months after India had been assured that the trial would be concluded in a couple of months. Pakistan has not kept to its own timelines and deadlines on this. Moreover, the delay in the trial is also due to the fact that the prosecution has claimed it as a threat on its life and has sought that the trial be shifted to another location. So from a conclusion point of view, this trial is going on endlessly. Now, Mr. Azim and to Brigadier Javed Hussain in Karachi, all I'm saying is these are hard issues. Let tomorrow's meeting happen. But these are the issues which the people of India want genuine movement on. If this overall relationship is to move forward, that's a limited point that I'm making to both of you gentlemen. I'm sure you know that this is a fact that Manmohan Singh also had to face.
Yes, we agree with you. These are the issues that we have got to address.
I'm coming in, Arnab. Let me say that let not these terror groups, so-called terror groups, hold the relationship between, the development of relationship between India and Pakistan hostage. You have to think big, think on strategic terms. Presently, you are indulging in tactical maneuvering. But if you see the big picture, hold on, let me finish. You asked too many questions. Let me finish. There are issues, as Mr. Tariq Azim has pointed out. Chief, the number one issue is Kashmir. But you keep saying that Kashmir is an integral part of India. It doesn't become an integral part of India just because you say so. It is there on the United Nations agenda. The United Nations military observers group are present in Pakistan because India has expelled them.
So
once this issue is resolved, hold on, Arnab.
So what is the point of quarreling over a non-issue?
Accept that this is a dispute.
So what is the point of quarreling over a non-issue? Let's get Salman Soz into this debate because the point is that
hold on, Arnab. If you go by this, then there will never be any peace between India and Pakistan.
Sir, I have said this repeatedly, and I'm saying today we are not meaning to quarrel with you on these issues. But what I'm saying quite decisively, sir, is that Sharif should also expect to be told.
India must accept that Kashmir is a dispute.
Sir, Sharif,
and the resolution can be deferred.
Sir,
go for waters, go for Sir Creek, go for Siachen.
I am taking one second.
Let me hold on.
Mr. Brigadier Javed Hussain, now you're
let me also tell you.
You're querying the pitch.
Hold on. Let me also tell you as a former. One second. Let me also clarify this. As a former Special Forces officer of the Pakistan Army, I can tell you with a great deal of authority that the Pakistan Army and the Inter-Services Intelligence Directorate are not sponsoring any terror group. Let me make this very clear.
Sir,
no, you don't have to laugh about it.
Sir, 1 minute, I'll take that later. 1 second, sir.
Hold on.
Sir, just a minute.
The Special Forces spearheaded the operations against the Soviets in Afghanistan. They can do the same against India. But they have not. The army wants peace. Army wants resolution of disputes.
Sir,
let there be interaction between the Indian army and the Pakistan army, alternately in India and Pakistan. Not on the battlefield, but in a pleasant, harmonious atmosphere.
Brigadier, I've heard you.
Trust.
No, I've heard you.
It cannot be done overnight.
I've heard you, Brigadier, and I will take the comment of Nawaz Sharif in some time. I've heard you, Brigadier, but I just need to say a couple of things to you, sir, if you hear me out now. You see, I began by saying today, I said, Brigadier, that I...
to hear you out.
Now, thank you, but I tell you, Brigadier, you just remember one thing. You see, what spoiled the initiatives in the past? It was your sponsor of terror and it was your ceasefire violations. I'm not even talking of what has happened in Herat. I have told you what happened in Keran. And I would also like to tell you that if Nawaz Sharif picks up the Kashmir issue, then you'll hear two answers. One is that it was, is and will be an integral part of India, Jammu and Kashmir. I don't want to reiterate that. Second, it is a bilateral issue, if at all an issue we need to resolve, and your attempts at trying to get third-party intervention on the issue will certainly not work.
No,
I want to get Hartosh in and Salman Soz as well. Salman Soz of the Congress Party, please. Yes, Salman wanted to come in. Salman Soz of the Congress Party. Sir, hear it out here. Because as far as, sir, you can set the atmospherics right, but you cannot rewrite history in the way that you wish. Salman Soz from Srinagar wants to say something to you. Salman Soz.
Nor can you.
No, first,
sir, 1 minute. Sir, 1 minute.
If you
just hear him out.
Just hear this out.
Brigadier Hussain, hear the Indian views, please.
In Kashmir, 90%, more than 90% will vote for independence.
Sir, now you know, Brigadier Hussain.
Try it.
You please hear what has been said by our Indian panelists as well. Let's understand where things stand. If you say understand each other, then understand what the Indian concerns are. It's not a small concern, sir, that the man Hafiz Saeed who goes around visiting your television studios got 167 Indians killed in 26/11. That's not a small thing for us. So when you move on that, it's important for us to see you move on that. And Modi will certainly make that point as well to Nawaz Sharif when the time comes. Salman wants to say something. One second, Salman.
Go ahead.
Well, first we welcome Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif to India. The Congress Party wants nothing but best of relations with all of our neighbors, including with Pakistan. and this has been our consistent position. But at the same time, we believe that tomorrow's meeting that the Prime Minister has with the Pakistani Prime Minister is essentially a meeting. It's a kind of a courtesy call. It's a meeting where, it can be a cordial exchange. But I'm afraid that no substantive discussions are possible at this particular time, because there are certain minimum issues that need to be resolved. And as Arnav, you've said yourself, justice to the victims of 26/11, as well as a kind of a common threat to both Pakistan and India, that is terrorism, and Pakistan has to do a lot more in that. I would also like to urge, some caution on two words that have been used here. One is chemistry, and one was 1998. On chemistry, I will just refer you to a meeting between Mr. Bush, George W. Bush, and Mr. Putin. And Mr. Bush famously said that he looked at deep in the eyes of Mr. Putin and saw his soul, and we're going to be great friends, and we know where Russia-America relations are right now. About 1998, I want to again caution that after Mr. Nawaz Sharif's visit in 1998, 4 months later, we had the Kargil War. I think we want good relations. We must have good relations. We must have brotherly relations. At the same time, we must exercise caution and take it step by step. But Pakistan has to act in a couple of areas, give us some confidence, and then we can move forward. And there is no problem because we have common interests. Economic development, poverty reduction, so much. But we have certain irreducible issues that must be addressed by Pakistan.
And I'm happy tonight that our guests from Pakistan here, both the Congress and the BJP, have a similar view on these issues. I'm going to come back to them. Small point, I'm going to take a break in 2 minutes. But before that, I think most people across India will say that even though Nawaz Sharif visits India, despite a caveat from, what is that terrorist name, Hafiz Saeed, against his departure, it does not absolve the Pakistani state from allowing Hafiz Saeed to be a free man, despite him being labeled an international terrorist. And that is what hurts. Hartosh has a point to make. Taking a break in a minute. Then we'll take the discussion forward. Hartosh.
Without getting into the rhetorics that our Pakistani panelists have, I think they have to understand the ground reality on this side in India. Despite the euphoria of the Modi victory, with all the high expectations, I think this is the one issue on which he has the least maneuvering room on. He has already defied expectations by reaching out, and Nawaz Sharif has responded. But it will take a single incident to bring back the kind of pressure we had already seen in the past government that will actually take everything back to square one.
Is that realization there, sir? Mr. Azim, is that realization there in Pakistan? A single incident.
And Arnab,
KC Singh wants to add something.
That is what they tried in Herat, because the attempt was to kidnap and hold them hostage.
What's he saying?
No, I'm saying...
he's saying something.
No, let him first hear. If a staff had been taken hostage in Herat, you would have had a running drama there while the visit was taking place.
Actors sir, do something silly.
No.
I mean, if you were to just you mentioned Hafiz Saeed, and you also mentioned that Hafiz Saeed was against Nawaz Sharif visiting India. So if he would be taking any instructions from these groups, I mean, he will not be visiting India. The very fact
we're very happy, but he's loose in your country. He's on the loose. That terrorist.
I mean,
that terrorist is on the loose.
He was arrested. No.
He's a threat to the subcontinent security, sir.
Do not ignore the facts, Arnab. Do not ignore the facts. He was arrested. He was tried. He was let off by the courts. Even today, the state government is in the higher court appealing against that letting off.
Sir, that is that's legality. I'll take a small break. Sir, everybody would like to see the India-Pakistan equation move, but it has to move on the spring of a certain new step that we want to see Pakistan take. I'm going to take the discussion forward. One of our panelists asked a very pertinent question. What would have happened if any members or families of the Indian consulate in Herat had been taken into a custody? Under what circumstances would Nawaz Sharif then have come to India? These are the enemies of the relationship. You need to take them on as well. We have a small comment from Nawaz Sharif. I want to play that out, exclusive to Times Now, before I take a break, and I'm back in a few minutes.
एक सवाल Just come closer. Mic please.
Everything is going fine, and I bring you good things to the people of Pakistan, and I think the people of both countries are very happy that I have come here. So I also feel honored to be part of this ceremony.
कल की बातचीत से क्या उम्मीद है आपकी? जी साहब।
ऑफिस में आपने सवाल पूछा था
जी कल की बातचीत
के बारे में सर क्या आपकी एक्सपेक्टेशंस क्या है सर?
कल की बातचीत के बारे में आपने कहा कि कल की बातचीत कैसी रहेगी? व्यवस्था रहे शजर से उम्मीदें बाहर रख.
Okay, I think it was, I didn't get the exact translation. Did you get exact?
I think what basically he was trying to say is that the circumstances are uncertain, but there is a certain degree of optimism.
Yeah,
I mean, that's broadly what he tried to say. But I also want to bring out, Arnab, that, you know, it's something which I want to remind you, I mean, our audience is more important, you know about it, that Nawaz Sharif did say some months ago that when Manmohan Singh's government really seemed to be on its way out, that I'm waiting for the next government in Delhi to be in place to actually reposition or realign our relationship and to try and revisit the whole Indo-Pak relationship. So I think here is a possibility. Nawaz Sharif is going to, in the foreseeable future, he has time on hand, but he has limitations.
No, but he's dodging
he's operating in very tight circumstances.
But he's dodging the real issue, because I want to go back to Tariq Azim and Brigadier Javed Hussain. You know, Brigadier Tariq Azim, KC Singh raised a very simple point here. You know, I didn't hear the exact Urdu, Hausle Bulande, and we are all optimistic is fine. But what he presents a scenario that if in Herat the situation had got worse, then there would have probably been no meeting. KC Singh wants to make that point, you sir, Tariq Azim. Go ahead.
Fortunately, the ITBP person on duty caught the first intruder.
That you keep bringing up, Arnab, I'm quite surprised.
No, I mean, this
kind of attitude, I don't think, you know, we are going to get anywhere. No, I mean, Herat, we keep saying to you what is happening in Afghanistan, and what Mr. Karzai says, if he cannot control his own people, the Taliban inside Afghanistan. Now, Herat is not in Pakistan. Herat is in India, is in Afghanistan. Just hear Mr. KC Singh's point very briefly, Mr. Tariq Azim. Just hear him very briefly. He'll put it in 20 seconds. Right.
Go ahead.
See, I am saying that we are not saying Pakistan is responsible. The leader of the country where this happened says Lashkar-e-Taiba did it. At the very least, we expect Pakistan to say, please, let's have a look at it.
Or let's
are they involved? Rather than this person going around and doing megaphone, giving advice to Mr. Nawaz Sharif on a megaphone, it should be examined whether he's involved in the attack on Herat. You see, that is where we get on the wrong track.
Well, do you think that once this thing comes up and a person like Karzai says something, do you think we don't do anything? Do you think we don't act on it? Don't you think that we will look into it? Of course we look into it. But we find out that this is the usual rhetoric that we hear on the side.
Mr. Azim, sir, with full respect, Mr. Azim, sir, with full respect, there is enough evidence on record that you were warned by the British and the American intelligence agencies and the President of the United States that you were involved in the attacks on Kabul. You did nothing about it. There has been enough evidence also of your involvement in a new book called The Wrong Enemy. You've done nothing about it. But anyway, let's move on from that about what we can expect.
Just recently, if you have been reading Praveen Swami's article in the Hindu newspaper, which is a very respectable newspaper, he laid out how RAW had developed the expertise to carry out covert operations inside Pakistan. And he has given out all the details. And we've been saying it all along. And when we give you evidence what RAW is doing inside Pakistan, in Balochistan, in Sharm el-Sheikh, when we give the evidence. And also, let me also tell you something. Not very long ago, when we had a trilateral meeting in Ankara, Musharraf was there, and Karzai was there, and he was given all the evidence. And when he was shown all the pictures and all the evidence, Karzai did not have anything to say. So what Mr. Karzai says, I'm sorry, but I mean, we have to take it with a pinch of salt. If he cannot control people acting inside his own borders and blaming it on Pakistan, please also keep an eye on that as well.
Okay, no. Anyway, let's not. We'll see.
Every time somebody gives them evidence which is against them, they say he's an Indian agent. Every time they say something which is music to their ears, they say that is true.
Maruf, the simple point I want to make to Ms. Tariq Azim, and I'm not saying it with any spirit of acrimony, that you ascribe a lot of qualities to RAW. I assure you, RAW does not give patronage to Dawood Ibrahim in Karachi. I assure you that RAW has not kept that Hafiz Saeed a free man. I assure you that RAW has not delayed action on 26/11. These are 3 or 4 of the critical areas. Now we'll discuss those areas. I'm not overplaying what we can expect tomorrow, but we can at least expect some movement. And to have some movement eventually, we'll have to have some points of agreement. Right? So very quickly before I go, I'm completely short of time. I have to conclude, but there is a tweet which Narendra Modi has sent out, which I think indicates that there is some warmth in their personal relationship. I'm going to read it out. He says, Nawaz Sharif told me that he stays in Islamabad but goes to meet his mother once in a week. My conversation with Sharif started on... He shared some very emotional things. This time when he was eating with his mother, he saw visuals on TV of my mother offering me sweets. The visuals touched both Nawaz Sharif ji and his mother. He told me that after seeing the visuals, his mother got very emotional. So at least there are some things which are starting on a good note out here. Andevani, something starting on a good note.
Excellent. Yes, I know he goes every Saturday.
Arnab, all that I want to
a minute,
say,
Arnab.
And he sees his mother, and he respects his mother. And if the mother says something, I'm sure the Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif is going to listen to it.
I'm glad things are going on a good note, at least very briefly. Yes, Vani, 10 seconds.
Yeah.
One very honest request to also our esteemed panelists from Pakistan, that let us not lend ourselves to provocation again before we even achieve anything as far as this limited agenda of being strategically bilateral towards each other gets achieved. Tomorrow's meeting is a, and I assure you that Mr. Modi, in his own margin, will definitely address things by and by. But I want to really honestly request,
and I will come back on the other side for one last section on the Newshour Tonight. Well, that's it on the Newshour Tonight. But before I go, tomorrow morning we start our special coverage. There's so much diplomacy, so much action in these meetings, especially what leads up to a post-noon meeting between Nawaz Sharif and Narendra Modi. So follow our reporting through the entire day. I'll see you tomorrow evening. Till then, good night and goodbye.